are you and what do you want? These are pretty big questions to ask, but they're going to become important when we think about engaging in audience analysis and trying to find common ground between an audience's needs and your goals as a speaker. Throughout this video, we're going to try to tackle the kind of three keys to audience analysis. Who is your audience? What are your goals as a speaker? And what's the occasion? Let's start by defining audience analysis. And audience analysis is the process of examining and looking at your audience by its demographic, characteristics, and internal psychological traits. We're going to break this down a little bit further. Demographic characteristics are the outward characteristics of the audience. So things like age, gender identity, culture, race and ethnicity, occupation. You kind of get the drift. Psychological traits are the inner characteristics of the audience, their beliefs, attitudes, values, and needs. Beliefs are the things that we hold to be true. Notice this definition does not say that beliefs are true, only that we hold them to be true. For example, a Seahawks fan might believe that the Seahawks are the best team in the National Football League, but factually, that might be a little iffy. Attitudes are stable, positive, or negative responses to a person, idea, object, or policy. So you might feel that accountability is really important, and then you might have negative attitudes towards lateness in your personal and professional life. Values are what we strive for and what we consider to be important and desirable. So I might value family more than wealth, and this might impact my decision to provide financial support for a family member who might need it. Lastly, we have needs. Needs are the outward characteristics of the audience. And often when we think of needs, we think of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which talks about needing to fulfill different layers of the triangle before we're able to move up. So we need to have our basic needs met before we can have our psychological needs met, before we can have our self-fulfillment needs met. Altogether, demographic and psychological characteristics help to make up our identity. That's going to play a role in what we value and then impact what we choose to invest our time in and how we decide to behave or respond to a message. It might even impact our reception to a message depending on our previous lived experiences and all of our identity combined. So audience analysis means that we need to meet the audience where they are, verbally, non-verbally, through language, etc. Some ways that we might engage in meeting the audience where they are is considering what our audience values. Are they more interested in human interest stories? Do they care more about the data, the research, your credibility as a speaker? It's going to be up to you to really figure out and parse out what is valuable to your audience to create the most effective and tailored message for that audience. And then we should always be kind of internally answering the following questions for the audience. Why should I care? Why should I care about this speech? Why should I be listening to it? What's in it for me? Are there benefits to listening to this speech? I need to know so that I can stay engaged as an audience member. And then ultimately, what do I get out of this? What will this knowledge do for me as an audience member to keep my interest and keep me engaged? Some additional questions that you might ask will relate to your goals as a speaker as well as the context of the speech. So, how much time do I have for my presentation? What time of day is the presentation? Why is the audience gathered? What is the knowledge level of the audience? Will I have to give them additional background information on my topic? What does the speaking space look like if I'm presenting in person or even if I'm presenting virtually? And does the audience have expectations about this speech that I, as a speaker, probably need to meet? When we engage in audience analysis, we want to avoid stereotyping or totalizing. Stereotyping is generalizing about a group of people. Totalizing is taking one characteristic and making that the total sum of a person. Overall, if you have questions related to audience analysis, please come visit the Communication Center as we're always here and happy to help.